If I could only figure out how to get my team motivated.
We are never going to get this project done on time.
Oh my God, my payroll numbers are insane. Why are we having all this overtime?
Do you have these or similar employee problems? Do you feel like some of your employees are just there for a paycheck? Tired of recruiting, interviewing, onboarding, and training just to find out you must do it all over again? Then it's time for you to find out how to have outrageously awesome employees. Sit back, buckle up, and get ready because we're about to drop a knowledge bomb on you. Please welcome to the mic the host of the show, the man who puts the human in human resources, the 007 of team building, the emperor of employee engagement, Randy Starr.
Hello and welcome to another episode of How to Have Outrageously Awesome Employees. And today we have a very special guest who's going to join us and answer some questions and hang out with us for a while. And her name is Nancy Jones, and Nancy is with the Wigwam. Nancy, how are you doing today?
Good morning. Fantastic. Thank you.
Yes. Now, those of you who may not know, the Wigwam is in Arizona. And Nancy, if you would, could you just tell us a little bit about your background and especially about the Wigwam?
Absolutely. So I am the Director of Human Resources here at the resort. I have been in leadership almost 30 years, human resources about 20 years, been able to interact with community service around 20 years also, and specifically hospitality for 15 years. There's all kinds of different hotels and resorts that you can work at in our industry, and resort was my first opportunity here at the Wigwam, and it is a gorgeous historical property. We've celebrated our 89th year just recently, and it's 440 acres. There's 9 golf courses, 9 tennis courts, or sorry, 3 golf courses, 9 tennis courts. There's 3 pools, an Elizabeth Arden Red Door Spa, 3 restaurants, 331 casino-style bungalow-type properties, recently renovated, 100,000 square feet of banquet space, indoor and outdoor. It's absolutely gorgeous property. Of course, Arizona, we're in March and we're in the 80s today, so it's the perfect property to come and visit. We have all the spring training people here right now that fly all over the place to come here and enjoy the property. You can stay here for a while and not get bored by any means.
So it's in Arizona. What part? What's it close to, or what city is it in?
Yep, so it's called Litchfield Park. We're about 15 minutes away from the Cardinal Stadium, the Coyotes hockey rink, Westgate shopping area. It's basically 101 and Cactus is the location. So maybe a 25-minute drive from the airport, really easy property to get to. It's a destinations location. It's in the beautiful Litchfield Park. It's a 100-year residential area, just gorgeous location. And you feel like you got away, but you're also very close to all the activities. Wow.
And I went online and looked at the property, and it's an excellent website. It's www.wigwamarizona.com. And the pictures on this site are just phenomenal. And it gives you a really good idea of the resort. And I had just told Nancy prior to coming online here that next time I'm in Arizona, I know where I'm staying so I can play golf, because the golf courses looked awesome. So so you have not only a lot of community service in there too, it sounds like. So great background. What is it about the human resources that you found so interesting that made you want to be in that field?
Yeah, actually, what happened with me personally, I didn't know that growing up I wanted to be an HR professional one day. I didn't even really understand that was a career. So I kind of grew up thinking I wanted to be an elementary education teacher, and
Oh, wow.
I loved teaching and developing, and I loved the classroom with the decorations and the holidays and the parties and having fun with kids. High school, I volunteered and discovered I don't want to spend all day long with children unless they're mine. So I discovered that pretty quickly that I wanted to work with adults, and then I took some psychology classes in university, and I love that piece of learning about human behavior and influencing behavior. And eventually I just got an entry level job at a hotel because of employee referral. And the HR director talked to me about what kinds of things I'm interested in. And when I discovered the diversity of career opportunities under that umbrella of human resources, it really was a perfect match for where my gifts and talents are and what my interests were. So that's how I started off with an HR internship while I was working in the hotel industry, and moved my way through to an HR manager, director, regional director, vice president, and then I was a consultant.
Wow. I have never actually thought about the direct correlation of a teacher to an HR professional until when you were talking about, like decorating the rooms for the themes of the different holidays and stuff. I'm thinking back to when I worked in a hotel as an hourly employee, and the HR person was just so awesome. Everybody loves the HR person in the hotel. And she was like that. She would always have themes up, and she always had a smile and a positive attitude and everything. So that is awesome. That's a great connection. So, and it's obviously worked out very well for you.
I love it. Yeah,
Yeah, isn't it neat? I mean, it's
it
got
is. It's a passion.
how
Yep.
now. I didn't ask you this, but how many employees are there at the resort?
We have 350 direct employees, and then we have over 100 that are third-party employees between the golf and spa and gift
Right,
shop and other
right.
outlets.
Wow, and out of all those 350 or plus the additional 100, Nancy is the one that everybody just loves too.
We have
that's
fun. We have a
yeah,
lot of fun.
exactly. And those of you who don't follow Nancy on LinkedIn, you need to do that because her posts are phenomenal. And it's always about the team, and it's always about what they've done. It's really good. So I suggest that you do that. Um, Speaking of accomplishments, what would you say has been one of your greatest accomplishments in human resources?
Yeah, I loved seeing your questions ahead of time because it really made me reflect on
Yeah,
my career. And it's gonna sound like a typical HR answer probably, but when you think of programs and different things that you would put on a resume as far as accomplishments, that's not really what came to mind. To me, as HR professionals, you're here to help people, and truly, my life mission is to help people become the best versions of themselves. And I do that personally through community service and nonprofits that I've been able to build to the human resources division. And that's what I love about it so much. So the best accomplishments I've ever had is visiting with somebody, if it's in an interview or if it's a new hire, if I come into an established place, and figuring out what their potential is. And they might not even fully understand it yet, and seeing what their gifts and talents are, what direction they want to go, and then supporting them and guiding them and providing the tools and opportunities for that. And the best compliment you can ever get as a professional is I just recently got, actually through Facebook, with a administrative assistant that I worked with 20 years ago at Wells Fargo. And she wrote to me when she was retiring after 40 years at the company about the impact that our relationship had on her throughout her career. And that's just
wow.
the best compliment you could ever get. So I'd say that's the
Yeah,
biggest accomplishment, is just looking at those relationships, and vice versa. The best I've ever had is these significant mentors in my life and the impact they've had on me.
right. That's amazing. That's from way back in your career, someone who remembers you, and not only remembers you, but takes the time to actually let you know the impact. I would have think that was probably a rather emotional read, or it would
It was a
have.
beautiful moment, and it
Yeah.
really challenged me. I contacted the 3 or 4 top people in my career that were mentors, and I went back and did the same for them because I thought that was really impactful, and it's a great challenge for everybody. You don't know the effect you have on people. You just kind of do what you do and
Right.
hope it's making an impact, and so it's a great challenge for people to do that.
That's awesome. So speaking of helping people and employees and their growth, what do you do to help specifically? What do you do to help employees grow, whether it be professionally or personally? What's one of your main things you like to do?
Um, just playing off of what I shared of meeting people and figuring out their potential. I think a lot of people don't quite understand a lot of times. Everybody's trying to figure out what they want to be when they grow up, and I think sometimes they go with whatever they fall into, or maybe parents or teachers or things like that kind of guide them in there. And the best option I can always ask people is look at your life backwards and even to when you were a child and see what you did with ease, what you did really well. You barely had to try at it. You got a lot of compliments at it. And when they start sharing that, that kind of points you towards their gifts and their talents and where their success is going to be. And one of the things that I love about the hotel industry and human resources is you work under all these different companies under one roof. So you've got
Right.
accounting and sales and food and beverage and spa and golf, and those are all different people. So we're able to tap into that and find a match for them. And people can move from a very entry level position all the way up. So our general manager was a banquet setup person, and that's how he started off and moved his way up. And he's the general manager for the last 20 years.
Wow.
It's an awesome thing to be able to do. So if we can figure out, their passion and their skills, then we can provide opportunities. And we've created all kinds of opportunities within the industry for people to cross train. So one of our best successes recently was a gentleman that was entry level, never worked in a restaurant. He started off as a busser, pretty shy. Eventually, he kind of got his feet underneath him. He understood the service skills, understood the restaurant, got promoted to a server. When the summer hits here, sometimes a lot of people aren't traveling to Arizona when it's 120, so we slow down a little bit in hours. So for us to retain our employees, we let them build up their PTO throughout the year. They'll go on vacations and leaves, and the employees that are remaining, they'll be able to cross-train in other departments so they can pick up hours. So he cross-trained as a bell person, which he would never normally do. It's in a completely different division. He
Right.
got some training, got some hours in that, and he eventually transferred there and just recently got promoted to be a lead bell person. So
Oh, wow.
fantastic opportunity to kind of move around and try things and learn and grow from there.
That is awesome. My next question was going to be, how have you helped an employee overcome a challenge? That was one right there. Do you have another
Yeah,
one?
we we have a lot of employees, in human resources. You deal with people's lives, and there's constant challenges that you're facing, and there's no such thing as leave your personal life outside. We bring that with us, and we're on stage here in this industry. If you're in retail or hospitality, food and beverage, you're on stage, and so you have to have joy and provide warmth and things like that. And if you're struggling personally, it's really hard to overcome that. So we have a particular employee that came to mind with that question that he got cancer and
Mm,
he was out for treatments for a very, very long time period. He was a long-term employee, 15 years at the property, and he ran out of PTO and was having a difficult time pay for his insurance to be able to cover everything. So we created a program here with a PTO donation program and got our corporate office on board, which was fantastic. And we didn't advertise it was for him in particular. We just rolled out the program to everybody that if somebody's, in a medical situation and they run out of PTO, they could be eligible for this. And our employees, a third of our employees have been here 10 years or more, most of them 20 years or more, and the longest term employee's been here for 47 years.
Wow.
So they accrue PTO at a way higher rate, and they can lose it if they, can only roll over a portion of that. So people just adore each other here, and they take care of each other. And with him being here for 15 years, they automatically knew somebody that was in need without us
Right.
telling. So he had over 100 hours of PTO donated from employees across the property. He not only got PTO to be able to cover his insurance and his time out, thank goodness he is back and he's 100% healthy, but he committed to donating his extra PTO to all the employees in need in the future, which there unfortunately has been a number of other employees that have used that benefit, but it's a pretty amazing bonding experience to see these employees give to each other and the loyalty and the dedication and the commitment that comes to it from the employees that receive that and even that give it out, that you can have an impact in somebody's life like that has been a phenomenal opportunity to watch it.
That's amazing. That is just completely amazing. What a great success story.
Yeah, it's been pretty incredible, and for the company to be able to facilitate that, it's something any company can do legally. You're able to do if it's for medical reasons, and
Right.
it doesn't cost anything on our behalf, but to facilitate that, it's a pretty awesome thing to watch.
That's great. And you have a 47-year veteran on your.
We have a number. We just celebrated another employee that 47-year employee has a hamburger named after him in the Reds restaurant where he's a host. And we also created Jesse Circle Drive that's right outside of his restaurant. We have another employee that just celebrated his 40-year anniversary. He is our senior conference services manager, Jay Zane, and we just named a banquet space after him. So he's pretty proud of his when he walks the property to tell everybody about his banquet room.
That is some awesome recognition too. That's
it's pretty amazing.
Wow,
people are staying to see if a quesadilla could be named after him, or a rose garden, or something. It's a great incentive program.
That's awesome. I'm not retiring. I've got to get a hole on the golf course.
Right? Absolutely.
That is phenomenal.
Great for retaining.
So obviously you have a tenured staff. They've been there for quite some time, at least the majority of them. What type of training do you feel is important for your staff?
Yeah, that's a great one. For us, I think and really any company I've worked for, I think the most important first training that you do is all the way to the interview process of educating people about your culture and your expectations for people that work there, what the benefits are, of course, but we're really looking for a fit. There's a lot of people that technically can do all the jobs we offer, but we have a very unique environment and culture and product and service that we offer. So that's the first training we do, is educating people on what that is. So that's why we're on Glassdoor, why we're on LinkedIn, why our website produces the information that it does, so they can really figure out, are they a fit for this property? Because of that longevity, we don't have a typical job where people just come in, do their work, and leave. Those people that have worked here for as many years as they have a real ownership to that. That particular gentleman I was just talking about that had the banquet room named after him, he has one group that is a business that flies here every single year to do a large business meeting, and they've come for 25 years because of their relationship with them year after year. So we really want to educate people on our culture. So in orientation, as soon as we have people come in, we have a full day orientation where all our leadership comes in and speaks to everyone and tells them about the history and our culture. We give them a tour around the property, and we point out some really specific, interesting information about the property. So when the employees go to their work areas, they actually can speak to that and share that with the customers. We teach them about our customer service, about our products, about our resources, and then they also get to physically see all of the leaders and interact with them. So we're kind of breaking the ice there, that they can interact with them in a smaller setting so they feel comfortable to approach them in a larger setting when they get in there. We also try to do leadership training and hit those hard skills with all of our employees, but also the soft skills on the diversity and values, and explaining not just training that will help you here, but personal development. So
Right.
we've created a wellness program. Our leaders, every single week, we have a manager meeting and we do a mini training, maybe 15 to 20 minutes, that doesn't just hit, the technical things going in the hotel. As an example, we asked our chef to teach everybody about how to properly carve a turkey right before Thanksgiving. And
Oh,
she brought that in there and taught
wow.
us that. We had somebody else teach us in the engineering department about planting flowers. And so we've got 8,000 rose bushes on our property and
Wow.
absolutely stunning landscaping here. So they got, information that came into the meeting that you could use that personally, but then also you could get educated on the property. So we do that on a regular basis. We also have a 5-part series leadership training that we pull the leaders out for 3 hours every other month and pour into them so they can continue to develop and build their resumes. We want them to feel like even if you stay here as long as you have, that you're continuing to develop and grow, and you feel like you're being challenged.
Wow. That is, what an amazing culture. I
It's
mean,
pretty incredible. Yeah,
it's,
it's been a really fun
is there a
location to
dome?
work at.
Is there some kind of a dome over the wigwam? Does a
It's
light shine from the heavens upon the
Yeah.
wigwam?
Well, in fairness, it's like any other job. There's certainly people that, have frustrations or run into work. It's a hard business, as you know, being
Oh,
in
yeah.
it. When it's season, we're at 100% right now, and people are working, 5, 6 days in a row, and you're on your feet, and you've got physical, labor that's going on as well, or working out in the sun. We just understand how difficult that is. And again, because we're on a stage and we're the ones that have to produce the joy at the property, and the customers read off of that and fellow employees read off of that. So whatever we can do, we actually do what we call random acts of kindness that just spontaneously will go out and give a standing ovation to a team just in the middle of their day, or we'll hand out candies, or we roll up little ice cloths that have mango scent. And during the summer when it's so hot, we'll go out to all the rooms where the room attendants are and hand that to them to cool off during the day. And just to infuse something small. It can all be very, very simple. It doesn't have to be, I don't have this huge budget by any means, but Pyramid
Right.
Hotel Group, who's our management company, they really believe in taking care of their employees. Actually, they have over 100 properties across the country, and every single property has a care committee that throws a employee party every single month for the employees, that have a theme and snacks and a time for everybody to come in and kind of celebrate what's going on and then go back to your work area. So the model was set through them, and then it's really easy to implement from there, and you've got this amazing property to pull upon the resources to be able to execute everything that we do.
What's the name of the company again?
It's Pyramid Hotel Group.
Pyramid?
Correct.
Pyramid. Well, now everybody knows where to go find a job, right?
Right, right. They have
I mean, after they listen to
113
this.
properties across the country, and they have 2 properties in Ireland. They've got a property in the UK. They've got a property in Cayman Islands, and then all over the United States. So,
Wow.
yeah, they've got some fun opportunities.
So they've set down a very good culture throughout all of those properties, I would imagine. So
Absolutely.
that's
Actually,
amazing.
Rick Kelleher, that started Pyramid, actually started the DoubleTree and Red Lion before that.
Oh, okay.
So he's been in
Yep.
the industry forever, and
Yep.
I actually worked at the DoubleTree very early in my career when DoubleTree Corporate was next door, and they had care rallies back then. And so much so, we dressed up in costumes and did songs. Employees would come back to work and watch the second show in the afternoon. So it's a culture that was built many, many years ago. And Pyramid, actually, their name has employees in the center of the pyramid, and then customers, the community, and the owners on the outskirts. So they believe in marrying all of those together as one unit. And if you take care of all of them, it kind of all works together into one unit there.
So do you think we could trace all this back to Rick Kelleher?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay. So Rick, you've just been given props. So I think I know the answer to this question already, but tell us about your typical day and what you do.
Yeah, well, that question was probably the hardest one to really think over, because there is no such thing as a typical day in
There you
HR.
go. There you
So,
go.
it is by no means an office job or a desk job, and it's not routine or, something that you can predict by any means. I think you go in with a goal and a big picture, and you try to protect your day and make an appointment with yourself for those projects that have to get done.
Right.
But it can be made up of, meetings that we go to. And in this industry specifically, you start off every single morning with a meeting that all the managers and leaders in the whole property get together and talk about the day and who's coming in, what's going on. So we're all on the same page and educated. We talk strategically about what we need to do to be successful that day. We also have our senior leadership has a meeting once a week to talk about big picture and, kind of what direction the resort's going in. The leaders, as I mentioned earlier, have meetings to go over in their individual divisions, and we attend that so we can be educated on their business. I really believe strongly in HR being a part of the business and understanding the business. We can't support and guide and help elevate them if we don't understand their lingo and the information, the things that they're struggling with. So that's part of that. The other part is being present and connecting with the employees. So with our property, it's huge. So we get a
Right.
golf cart, which is a huge benefit also and fun. So we drive all over the property, and we'll load up some candy or load up some things in our golf cart and just go visit with all the employees, go to the other side of the property, routinely every day, building relationships and fostering that open door policy. The first day I started any company, I put a big bowl of candy right in the front of the office so people know they can come there. They'll just stop by to visit, and it kind of gives a reason for people to come in, so it doesn't have that principal's office feel to it,
Right.
and it's
Right.
something that they can come and have fun and laugh and leave and interact with them that way. We also spend a lot of our time sourcing. You mentioned LinkedIn. A big part of that is marketing and branding the property, and it's got to be truthful and authentic, obviously, because if you advertise one thing and people come in, they won't stay if it's not authentic. So a big part of that is getting out in the community and going to job fairs. We partner with Grand Canyon University, that's the closest university to us, as well as the local community colleges and a lot of diversity um, organizations to try to source and interview and network. We also do a lot of conflict resolution in our property, trying to teach people how to work with each other. When you have a lot of diversity, which we have a lot of diversity at our property, people from all over the world work here, and that can cause, when there's differences between people, it takes a little bit for them to understand and appreciate that and understand how to communicate with each other. So we help navigate through those issues. And then we mentioned already all the recognition events, the holidays, the celebrations, community service. We do a community service project every single month here at the property. We know people work long hours, so it's hard to be able to go and serve. So we've organized one of the biggest, coolest ones we've done here is working with Feed My Starving Children. It's a national organization, and we brought them actually from the East Valley to our property and gathered 350 people in the community. And we put them in our ballroom, and we packed little food bags, 55,000 food bags that will be mailed around the world to feed children that are malnourished. So that was just in a 3-hour time period. We were able to get our business partners and our customers and our employees partnering together to serve.
Wow.
It's constantly changing. We tap into our employees also. Right now, we just finished our biannual employee opinion survey, which we do, and we read that, we communicate it with our leadership, we communicate it and have meetings with all our employees to go over all the results. We do a lot of roundtables and discussion because, those can tend to be flat. And when somebody says, I don't feel respected at work, when you talk to them in the meeting, it turns out it's the guests they don't feel respected by, not their coworkers, because, they leave their clothes on the floor, or, the
Right.
rooms are really messy or something like that.
Right.
So we dig into that, create action plans, and we're just constantly chasing how we can go from good to great and how we can continue to improve and make ourselves better.
So you actually do something with the results of your employee engagement surveys.
Absolutely. Not only do we do something, because we just talked about this yesterday, because as I said, our survey results came out again.
Right.
We find that management does things, and every company I've ever worked at has had a survey, and we've
Mhm.
always acted on it. And then
Right.
everybody says nothing ever comes from it. And what I
Right.
discovered early on is you have to do it, and then you have to market it. You have to PR it. You have to go out and package it up and tell people we did it, and this is what we did. And we implemented it. So we literally, one of the suggestions in our last survey was it would be nice to have cereal in the employee cafeteria. We come in at 4 in the morning, and, lunch doesn't get served till 10. So we put
Right.
cereal in the employee cafeteria, but we put a flyer on it that said, thank you so much for the suggestion in the employee survey. You now have cereal. And people now know, even if I'm not the one that made that suggestion, they know we're listening and we're doing something about it. And we also do a town hall. We just finished in February, that we gather all the employees on property, and we literally go over all our successes from the year before, and we tell them about all the capital expenditures we made, the improvements, the things that were bought, the successes, the rankings that we've had, and we hit every single division so people can have pride. Actually, at the Wigwam, we call it swagger, and the W is the Wigwam W. So
That's
we
awesome.
we have our swagger party every year, and we talk about all our successes, and people really enjoy it because you kind of work in a bubble. If you're over at the pool, you don't know what's going on,
Right.
across the property. So it's a great way to kind of celebrate and educate everybody on what's being done.
That's tremendous. Yeah, it's it's I find that it's one of the most difficult issues communication wise in hotels is the interdepartmental, because this group's got one specific job and one thing that they're focused on, and a lot of times they don't realize how important it is for the other departments to know.
Right.
So yeah, it can be challenging. It sounds like you guys do an awesome job of communicating everything, especially in the town hall. So that's tremendous. I've got one more question for you, and then we will wrap it up after that. The last question is basically, if there's someone listening right now to the podcast or watching this on YouTube, um, what would you, and this person is considering maybe switching careers into human resources, or maybe they're thinking about getting into human resources in college or school or wherever, whatever the situation is, what type of suggestions or words would you give them to help them be successful at that?
Absolutely. I would I would ask them to try to look into all the different types of positions there are in human resources. I think there's a lot of misunderstandings of the different work that gets done in human resources, maybe some assumptions that are made. Every different type of personality can fit into human resources. If you love to play with numbers and spreadsheets and things like that, you might think human resources isn't your thing, but you could be a compensation specialist. Maybe benefits is something that you're passionate about. There's the training and development, the employee relations thing. So I would say first just learn about all the different types of HR. The other piece is I would really learn about what type of company or business you would like to be in, because the cool thing about human resources is you can go to any company. And then you have all these different specialties under that title. So I believe you should really understand a business to be a true business partner and a support. So it's hard to get into human resources. There's only a handful at each company. They're usually smaller departments, so it's hard to get in there. So if you can get into the type of business, maybe when you're in college, and get a part-time job and start to learn the business and start to show what type of employee you are, that could be a path for you while you get your degree. Otherwise, if you can try to find a human resource intern and get that experience with trying all the different types of jobs, if you eventually want to go to leadership, you should understand at least the different avenues of it. And then it really is the heart of the operations. So it's a selfless service support type position. So you have to really realize, is that the type of personality that you have, that you can't tell people what to do, but you can help influence. And part of that is your credibility as a professional and understanding their business. And the other part is becoming an expert in your field. So as soon as you can get some of that generalist experience and then figure out what direction you want to go from a business, then you're kind of on your way. And it's a phenomenal job to be in, and has so much potential and so many opportunities, and absolutely love it. Would highly recommend it for anybody that's considering it.
Well, I have always been taught from when I first started working for Marriott International way back in the 80s. It was just being in hospitality, one of the key attributes for a successful hospitality person was what they called the spirit of service. Someone who, that made them happy to serve other people. But I would take it a step further and say that HR in hospitality is even way, way more in line with that thought process, because you're in the hospitality, which is service, and then you're serving the people who are serving the guests. So
absolutely,
very tremendous. Yeah. Nancy, thank you so much for your time. And I know that you are extremely busy. Again, I just wanted to remind everybody that the web address was www.wigwamarizona.com. So check the property out. Thanks again for your time, Nancy, and for everybody that is listening. Please stay tuned, because there will be more to come soon. You guys have a great day, and thanks again. Bye for now.
Thanks for hanging out with us. Please feel free to contact Randy with any questions about team building or employee engagement issues. Subscribe to this channel so you'll be notified when new episodes are published.